Well, I made a small tenon on this piece right here, and it's right there. You can see it better that way. But this tenon is kind of a problem, because now I want to square up this glued piece of wood, and I'm going to have to make this tenon is 1/8 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch tall, so I'm going to have to make a piece that will fit on here, actually here, that's 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to try to get it out of this little piece I cut off here. Now I'm just going to square this piece up on the table saw. This isn't turning out very straight, so I'm going to have to try to find the best side and use that against the fence. I got my push stick here. Using my fence to see if it's straight. Alright, now I'm going to cut a piece of wood to fit in here. Right in that area there. Better cut off a little bit on this side here. I'm going to measure over 1/8 of an inch. On this piece of wood, cut a sort of a sliver off of it. I'll raise my blade up a little bit. There we go. I made it a little bit greater than 1/8 of an inch, but that's okay because I just gotta fix it onto this piece of wood somehow. I'll have to drill a couple holes. It's not quite below the surface, so I want to drill another hole. Drill a little bit deeper. Okay, then I'll touch it up a little bit with sanding block. Okay, well, this piece that I created the tenon on, I'm going to have to, there's 2 screw holes right there, up here, one down here, and I'm going to have to drill holes in this if I can. One of the problems is that I've got a small nail right there. It's kind of difficult to see, but it's right in there. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to drill up both holes, but I've got this made so that this tenon on the bottom fits into this groove right here, like that. And then I'm going to also drill another hole so that I can thread, so that I can put a nut in the hole, and then I will be able to thread my adjustment bolt in this piece of wood here. Okay, well, I've got to drill these clearance holes for this these screws. That should be good enough. Alright, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to glue this piece in here with the tenon. Glue it in there where it's supposed to go. You don't want to get any glue on the screws. Then you'll never get them out of there. So put a little glue on her. Give her a little sanding. I showed basically how to fix this sanding block. And if you notice, I've got the sanding belt flush on one side, and the other side it's overhanging a bit. And I made this new piece that goes in the middle, and that's a wedge. And then these two pieces here also have a wedge shape, a corresponding wedge shape. And then I have this piece of metal over here, steel, that's drilled and tapped, and then it's secured with a screw right there on that side. So I mean, that's one way you can make yourself a sanding block. All right, now we're going to glue this thing in here. Now they say on the instructions on this Gorilla Glue that you're supposed to wet one surface. I've never had an issue with that, so I don't wet it. It'll work. I want to make sure I get some on this tenon. That's how I glue it, with this type of glue. And I'm going to rub the joint a little bit so I get some even distribution there. Blow all the stuff off of it. Okay, well, we'll let that dry. Put a couple clamps on it. That's going to be an extremely strong joint with that tenon in there. Alright, this is the piece that I made for a slightly different axis. And I'm going to drill a couple holes, put a couple screws in it. Should use it at least 1.5 inches. I'm going to use 1 5/8 screws. I should say you could use 1 1/4 inches, but instead I'm going to use 1 5/8 screws. To secure this thing. And after I get in one of the screws, I'm going to move my clamp to the other side here. Make sure everything's flush where I want it. Drill another hole. You have to measure and make plans and draw plans. Not for this particular part. I did make a drawing for this project. But it's more or less something I have in my head, not really on paper. So I put a couple screws in it, and that'll hold it for now. I may take those screws out, put a little glue in. I think I will put a little glue in it. And just use the screws to clamp it. I sort of make a pattern on the glue, so that's just how I do it. I think I'm going to line it up a little bit closer where it should be. I'm not going to draw it all the way down because that'll throw it off. That'll throw everything off. Now I can draw it down tighter. There we go. This is going to set in there something like this. I'm going to drill a hole here, and then I will be able to put my bolt in this way to make some adjustment on this particular axis. And I'll show you how to do that when we get further into it.